Welcome to the Mountain Dude Podcast, brought to you by Initial Ascent, where we share stories of grit, determination, and the relentless pursuit of growth. This is a space where backcountry hunting meets the deeper lessons of life. Success born from struggle and the art of carrying heavy loads more comfortably, both physically and metaphorically, through faith and perseverance. Join us as we explore the paths that shape us, celebrate victories big and small, and fuel our journey with hope and tenacity. This is the Mountain Dude Podcast, where we climb higher together.
Should we get this puppy rolling? I'm stoked.
Let's go.
I'm so excited. We sit out there and build calls. I'm like, let's go. I'm ready. Let's go elk hunt after this, too.
Piss on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, guys. No better way to learn. Let's go. Let's go get out there. Get
Go
some
find
boots on
them
the
now.
ground.
Yep.
Oh, I love it. Well, we start every podcast with a prayer.
All right.
Dennis, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Father, thank you for this day, and thank you for these folks gathered here. We just ask that you be with us as we go through this podcast and we enjoy our discussions, and we just ask that you be just speak through us and help us be a shining light and to somebody out there. We love you, and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Love that.
Well, Cody McCarthy, welcome to the Mountain Dude Podcast.
Awesome, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Man, it's
Fired
awesome
up.
to have you here. And I guess I just want to start by, you apparently killed your first bull at the age of 12.
Yep.
Talk to us about that story.
Yeah. So if we go way back, I grew up in northern Idaho in Orofino, and it was one of those deals where between my uncle, his best friends, my father, my whole family, my grandfather on my mother's side, big elk hunter, he was in Wallace. So my mom's from Wallace, my dad's from Orofino. Right. Well, they had a salmon steelhead fishing outfit on the Clearwater River, and still to this day, it's the longest standing salmon steelhead outfitter on the Clearwater River. It's my Uncle Jim McCarthy. And so these guys can call. I grew up, Corey, Dirk, Rocky Jacobson, my uncle, all these guys, right? Wayne
They all
Carl,
hung out together.
just, high school.
Yeah.
And then just knowing folks, and
All from around
just
the same area.
the same area, right?
Yep.
And it's not like you're hanging out with they're hanging out with a 5-year-old, right? So it's not like that, but just being able to be around those people, being able to be around really good callers. Wayne Carlton, right? Got to meet him when I was really young. He was an MC at one of my first bugling contests. All these people that are the founders of elk hunting, archery elk hunting, bugling, calling especially. And I used to watch those RMEF VHSs.
Oh, yeah.
And I would just sit there and watch them and watch them and watch them and listen and listen and listen and listen. And I hear it, and I could just have a gift where I've been blessed by the Lord that I can hear a sound and I can make it. So if I want to go duck hunting, I taught myself how to duck call by just going and sitting at a pond and going hunting with the people
Just
that
imitating what you were hearing.
whatever it be, right? And so my dad took me out a couple times, and then I was 7 or 8, I can't remember. It's a long time ago, but I was young. And he took me, and he let me bugle. I just won a big bugling contest as a little dude, and I could really rip on the thing. But I wasn't good, but I was good enough in like one sound, a high-pitched bugle. I can't cow call or any of that stuff. And so he would just give me like a little signal like, okay, bugle now. And he was doing majority of the calling. And so we get in, and then he lays me next to a deadfall. So I'm laying there on my back. I got the tube like this, and I see him, and he's like, and so I, and then pretty soon I hear crunching, and I hear the thing bugle, and my heart's just like, and the thing, my dad, I see him draw his bow, and he's holding it for a while, and that thing is a foot from me,
Yeah.
It steps over and straddles me in the deadfall.
The bull.
My dad has got a 90-pound PSE Baby G with 60% let off shooting X75s.
Jeez.
He is shaking. He can't shoot this thing. It'd kill me. The bull bugles and pees all over my lower legs. You think I'm lying?
Wow.
Oh, no
The elk
way.
then crosses, and my dad doesn't shoot it, but the thing just meanders off, right? And I get up, and I'm like, just in shock. And my dad's like, holy cuss word, like, holy smokes, that was crazy. Yeah. And I was like, can we do it again? And then it'd be like January around my birthday. Dad, I want to go elk hunting for my birthday. I can't. Gotta wait till September. And then, so that goes. And then obviously my dad was a high school football coach. And so he coached on Friday nights. And that was a thing. I'd go, and football was my first real love. I love football. I had a long career in it. But then afterwards, after Friday nights, that'd be elk hunting. We'd go elk hunting with our family. So we'd go, school, do the thing, play a football game Friday night, take off, right? Yep. And so then when I was 12, we'd play our little games or whatever, and at the Optimist deal or whatever, and we took off hunting, and we drove up. And at the time, there was an active fire. It was actually
there you go.
And so it was
you and everybody else.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so it was up there, and it was on fire, and that spot had just burned, and the roads weren't closed down yet. And so we were driving up there, and it's just smokier and all get out, and there's parts that are just burnt, just blacker and black, and there's still smoke and stuff. Well, get out of the truck, and I bugle, boom, bull bugles, and I was like, we look down, and it's like probably 2,000 vertical feet drop of like, right? And my dad's like, oh, there's a road down there. Like we can get the motorcycle four-wheeler in there, and we can get there, at least walk it out or, do that. Okay, take off, right? Because when I was younger, I'm a little bit better now. But it used to be if I heard one, I'd just take off like
just
a
go
band.
to it.
I was in great shape playing football. I could run, so I could just take off calling and doing that. And anyway, so we get down, and he's bugling, and we're doing the thing, kind of getting set up. And it's like, it's just not working. We get to this big, wide open burn, and there is a tree. It's like a Christmas tree that's only probably 4 foot tall. That's the only tree in this entire burn clear cut. And we sit down, and I remember my dad just kind of laid down because it was, we're super tired because we just went a long way. And I just grabbed the bugle tube, and I was like, let ball like this, just 45 stupid bugle, right? Boom! The thing steps out. Grab an arrow, knock it. I'm sitting there, and that thing just walks through that burn. My dad's just laying there at the tube, and the thing walks literally right to the tree, like to the tree. The tree's here. I'm sitting here on my knees, and he puts its head down, and he goes, and he just kind of moves the branches with its antlers, and I went like this. I jumped, and I saw his eyes, and we like locked eyes, and I watched him roll back into his head. And he just kind of slowly rolled out of there. And my dad cow called, and he stopped and just made a 90-degree, what turned out to be 30 yards. It was luckier than all get out, because I drew my bow and said, there's 5 pins on him. Whack!
That'll do it.
Covered him up.
I said, one of them things is going to hit him. The Lord is watching me. And then I watched him. I hit him. I made a perfect shot. And I watched him die. And I remember shaking, and then just absolutely like having an emotional moment, thanking the Lord, being so gracious, but listening to him die and how much that bothered me.
Oh, wow.
I didn't like that. Listening to him breathe and try to struggle, and so we got down there, and it was just an emotional deal for my dad and I. It was like, I'll never forget it. It was beautiful. It was something that my father and I will always share to this day. And the funny story is that road didn't go anywhere.
Almost never does, right?
So there's no access there. So
Yeah.
we loaded up an old pack frame, and I think I had, at 12, I had both the front shoulders, the head, all the other meat, and my dad had both the hindquarters. We
Heavy
packed that
pack
whole elk out in one trip. And then and luckily I was in really good shape and my dad was in good shape, but I was flying pretty good up that hill, and we get to the pickup and we were just like, let's get the heck out of here. And we drove down, we had the best cheeseburger of my life, drove home, and I was like, heck yeah. Dude,
You'll always remember that cheeseburger.
oh yeah, it was awesome.
Yep.
It was awesome.
Cody, take me back to that moment, because you just captured something that not a lot of people understand that haven't filled a tag or taken an animal's life.
Yeah.
That is a very emotional moment, but it's
dude.
so special.
It's special. And, just thinking about it, it's just like they're so hard to kill.
Mm-hmm.
And just like anything in life, right? Like nothing easy is worth doing.
Right.
You have to bust your butt, do the hard things, push yourself to the next level. It's like I look at like my sports career, played football, and I trained my butt off, and then everyone said, well, if you play football, you need to run track. Okay, so I started running track. What event do I pick? The 400 meters. Probably one of
The
the
worst.
Probably one of the most, besides the 800,
Yep.
probably one of the most psychotic races. My mom was an 800-meter runner, by the way, so she's crazier than all of us. But going through that and running the 400 and being so nervous, and then I remember I set the Northwest regional record in Montana, and I was so worked up from running that I got up on the podium and I puked all over the dude handed me the medal. But going back, like doing those hard things, that's what makes it special. And like I was able to so my daughter's now shot 2 turkeys. She's 10 now, but last year she shot her first one. And watching her shoot and take her first life, and her walking up to it, seeing it, having a moment of just tears, and giving that embrace, like, hey, this is okay.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do with this. Not 1 ounce of this bird, it's just a turkey, but not 1 ounce of it's going to go. And when you cook this and you make it, and you make this and you feed your mama and your sisters and your grandfather and grandmother, it's because of you.
Right.
Because you did this. You took that step that was hard and you made it.
Yeah.
And so then after we had that, obviously I'm very, very strong in my faith.
Yeah.
Same with my family. So we have our moments, and we're just so blessed to do what the Lord asked us to do.
Yeah.
Oh,
Amen to that, man. You captured that perfectly, because that is so special.
It is. It's amazing.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's not really a better way to put it into words than what you just did. So thanks for that. 'Cause that was perfect.
Thanks.
It's something that because people outside of the hunting space don't understand it, but when you explain it like that, like you can't not understand it. You were using every bit of that animal, and it really is a special connection that you have in that moment with God.
And it's things that, it literally, in Genesis, it says, take up your bow and do what, here's the animals I gave to you.
Yep.
Here's your way to survive. We're doing the Lord's work.
Right.
We're helping them. That's what, it's so hard when you start talking about all these, the anti-hunting groups and things like that, like how much in the weeds they get, like, well, they'll look at CWD, look at all these things that are killing these animals.
Right.
When we could be doing it ethically. Hunters give back more to conservation and to these animals than they could ever.
Yep.
And so it's a relationship it's the Lion King, dude. It's circle of life.
Yeah.
It's the way it's, when my body's burned and goes in the ground, that's going to turn into grass. They're going to eat it. And it's the whole thing. Right. And that's my way of giving back to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. We've been elk hunting your entire life and essentially calling elk your entire life, correct?
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, I've never killed a elk with a rifle. I've only killed them with archery equipment.
Wild stat. How many bulls do you think you've killed?
I don't know.
A lot. A lot, I can imagine. Your first one was 12. How old are you now?
32.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. It's
20 plus years of elk hunting. There's probably
and
a lot in there.
But like, the cool thing is like playing football, playing college football, being able to shoot an elk in college. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like a bye week. It's like, do the practice, coach. I got to leave, and then going out and being able to shoot an elk.
Yeah. We used to get off on that bye week. We used to get off on like Wednesday or something.
And take off and go.
And then take
That's
off.
if it lined up right. If not, then I was really fortunate. Like I was able to go over and I was able to kill an elk within like 20 minutes of the opener. I went out with my. Awesome. It was rad too. I went out with my grandpa and his little friend, and they're out checking out wood, to cut down and see some cows. And I run down the hill, and I'm in like tennis shoes and shorts and a shirt. I don't even have a pack. I barely have a knife.
Yeah.
Yep. I have my bow. And it's not just any bow either. It's like a 40-inch white cocaine white target bow. That was the name of it. And it was Frankensteined. It had different cams that's supposed to come on it, and I just Frankensteined this thing together. Like, there was no tunability in it because it was Frankenstein, so my rest is all the way out, my sight's all the way out. And I called this bull in and shot him, and he died. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. The story after that is probably shouldn't say this, but it was a Polaris commercial. You should see me ride through that clear cut with deadfall with a full elk. It was a rodeo.
I bet
it was on 2 wheels. It was sick.
Oh, man.
Oh, goodness gracious.
What a good time.
That
is awesome.
It gets a little Western when you roll with us. We always keep it light and always keep it fun, but, man, we do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So how long you been with Slayer?
4 years.
4 years. Wow.
4 years, yeah.
Slayer. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so that's another deal where lots of prayer. And Bill is a man of faith, and it started off with my dad. My dad building calls for him, and then I came on with my dad, and now my dad and I, it's like kind of a family business. And working with Bill is great. Working with all the people is phenomenal. Everything is customer based, and we've really pushed the industry when it comes to just transparency. And it used to be way back in the day, I used to get, people would, comment to me or say things from other companies that, if you use these calls, you do so much better because those calls suck or this or whatever, all this negativity in the industry. And it was like, you'd have like pro staff groups that would go around and hammer other call companies. And it's like, man, I don't want to do that. And it's like, when that was the one thing that with Slayer, it's like, Bo's my friend. And he'll always be my friend first. Yeah. Dirk is my friend and will always be my friend. I want Jason, Dirk, whomever, Bo, whoever's doing it. I want them to be successful because it's not us. We're all buddies. It's the consumer. And so it's like, hey, if you don't like the calls that I make, I will tell you 4 calls over there that will work for you. That's the way I believe. I do not believe in bringing anybody down. And so that was the big thing with Slayer that I was able to do, was really just embrace the consumer, the elk hunter, giving people more of the experience that I talked about earlier. That's what I want. I want the future of elk hunting to continue. Yeah. I want all my friends throughout all the call companies and all the archery elk stuff, all the bow manufacturers, everyone like that, everyone in the industry. I want them, if we all come together, we have a lot of pull. Right. We have a lot of different people. You guys have we have ours. Cryptech has theirs, whomever, right? Yep. And if we all work together, we can make a difference. Yeah. And we can save our public lands. Yeah. We can save elk hunting. We can save those traditions. Those are far more important and superior than any pissing contest or measuring contest. Mm-hmm. I don't play those games. Yeah. So that's the thing with Slayer, that able to bridge that gap and just truly be myself and embrace everything and make a product, think about it, make a product that stands on its business. Yep. Yeah. Don't like it? Okay. That's okay. Yeah. I have so many friends that will help you, because all I care about, like I went to a TAC in Michigan and I bought probably 20 of Bo's calls just to teach someone how to call
And for the audience, this is Bo
Brooks.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, I didn't have I'm not flying all my stuff back there because I'm working for a different company, right?
Right.
I'm selling broadheads. But still, I'm like, I don't care. Here's a call. This is what, try to do this. I have this elk hunt in Colorado coming up. I've never been able to do this. Like, I want you to be successful. Mm-hmm. I want everyone to be successful because and not everyone will be successful. You can do elk hunting 99.999% and still find a way to screw it up.
Yeah.
Because it's not,
Especially
some of it's just not in your control.
Right.
Yep. You know, whether it's the time of year, whether it's hunting pressure, whether it's this, whether it's that. There's so many variables that go into it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you can do everything right. But the most important thing that I tell everyone, it's like, dude, just enjoy your time out there.
Yeah.
Like when I'm out there, that is my time. That is my time to be with my wife. That's my time to be with my kids. That's my time to share a little bit of old wisdom and truth. That's our time to reflect. Yeah. You know, like, hey, I'm sorry, honey. I haven't been a very good husband lately. Yeah. You know, I've been Twitter pated here.
You feel comfortable.
Now I'm comfortable.
There.
We're out here. We're doing it. Yeah, she loves it too. I'm very blessed. But you could say, well, that's selfish because you know you're only you're only saying that in your comfort zone. Well, it's my comfort zone. It's how I open up.
Right.
You know, everyone else thinks I have big walls and not approachable or hard to talk to. It's like, no, it's like I'm serious, but then I'm really not. I'm pretty goofy too. You know, I get, you know, it's like I grew up in a college locker room. Like I can take all jokes. I can dish jokes. We can have fun. I can fight you and shake your hand right afterwards. It doesn't matter. That's just the college life, right? Like it don't matter. You just I always just try to check my ego at the door no matter what I do. Even though there's times where things make me mad or whatever, I get frustrated, like, who am I?
Yeah.
I'm nobody.
Yeah, we all get frustrated.
Realistically, I'm nobody. I'm me, and this is what I'm a son of Jesus Christ. That's what I am. And so I got to check that at the door. Mm-hmm. You know, check my ego, put my faith into him, and go down and just keep following the path that Jesus has put me on. That's the most important thing. And so when you talk about Slayer, it's like be with really good people, get to be with my father, get to do stuff. You know, my wife's a part of it. My kids are a part of it. It's like last week at the Shields deal, my little girls are in the dunk tank, you know, people call it.
That was a heck of an idea. Was that y'all's idea?
That was Bill's idea.
Oh, man. That was
it worked great.
Awesome.
And it kept my kids entertained. It's soaking wet. It was hard for Mama getting them out and getting them back home because they're so waterlogged and everything. But, man, it's just little things like that, the family aspect of it, that's how it
and
all
see,
came
when
out.
I think of Slayer, that's what's always come to my mind because ever since I'd even heard about Slayer, that was the vibe. You know, you had Bill there, you had Joe, you had your wife, your kids. It just seemed like a family.
Yeah,
and that was the vibe that I got. And I'm like, this is really cool. You know, this is a special.
It is cool
company. You know, with some special people.
Yeah, and that's the whole goal. And it's like we never want to tear anyone down.
Yeah,
we want to build people up.
Yeah,
like if you're in the business of trying to tear people down,
right?
Well, and we've always said, you know, as Initial Ascent, we've always said, just us stepping into this space, that made everybody else better.
Yeah. It's a positive thing.
It's a positive thing. And guess who wins? The hunter.
Correct.
Absolutely.
The customers win.
Yep.
So, you know, with all of us competing against one another for business and all that, that's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
It keeps us all sharp. It keeps us all hungry.
Keeps us innovating.
Oh, absolutely.
It pushes us.
And then in the end, the hunter, which is us.
Which is what we all are.
Yeah.
That's the base of all of these companies that we
all
about.
win.
Correct.
I mean, it really, if you look at it that way, you can't lose.
No.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, and just like Cody talked about earlier, look what happens when we all come together.
Yeah.
Like the bill that was just about to go into effect.
Yep, that's right.
Exactly.
And the things change
squashed
like
quick.
that. Because it is. It's it is. We are all like-minded individuals that whether you're running whatever, none of that matters in the end. Like we're all, because if you sat down at this table with somebody else from whatever competitive company, I guarantee you this conversation would be very similar because we're all like-minded people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Joe and I had a similar conversation with Jason and Dirk at the Colorado show, and that's the exact same thing they said. You know, it was like, you know, we like to help these guys, you know, and you know, we'll if a call doesn't work for, you know, a customer, one of ours, you know, we'll send them to Slayer. We'll send them, you know, somebody somewhere else. Right? Yeah. You know, we're kind of all in this together, and there's plenty of business for everybody.
For sure.
There is.
Absolutely.
And, you know, you start talking about elk calls, and it's like, you know, you kind of get in the weeds with elk calls because they're realistically, it's like it's a niche, right? And it's not like you know, an optic company, right? That you can have all this and all this, you know, binocular sponsors, refs, scopes, whatever, right? And so you do it because you love it. You don't do it to get rich.
Yeah,
right. And to me, I am rich.
Yeah,
I'm rich because I get to do what I love. I get to help people. I get to come and talk to y'all about elk hunting and just hang out like that. That is payment.
So much fun.
Right. That's the stuff that feeds the soul. That's good.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. I feel rich too when we're sitting out there blowing elk calls. Your cup's full, man.
I'm telling you. I kept thinking we were going to get a call from the neighbors.
Yeah, seriously.
Right now, we really don't have any neighbors. You know?
It's true.
We got a skeleton crew next door here, and then the places across from us aren't rented out at all.
Good thing, because they would have been hollering.
Good. Yeah.
Well, Cody, this is awesome. So something that I want to talk about, because I do want to get into the weeds, because when I put a diaphragm in my mouth that you built me custom here in the shop and then blew on that tube, I was blown away, and I've blown a lot.
We were blown away, literally.
Yeah, that thing will rip. Yes. I do want to get into that, but before we get to that, I want to talk about, because you're a man of faith, and there is things, in my opinion, that shape us into who we are, and it's usually God puts obstacles in our way and helps us grow for a reason.
Yep.
Can you give me some of those scenarios? What have you struggled with that God's helped use to shape you to be an example?
Yeah, or what are you struggling with currently?
Right. So let's see. There's a list. I'm not perfect.
Hey,
so
this is what we all want to hear, because I guarantee you there's somebody out there listening that needs to hear this.
Yeah. So when I was a highly decorated high school football player, you know, making all sorts of things have led into my life that are hard, right? And, you know, when I was a kid, playing football was my way to go to college. And I was told that at a young age. And so it became, I need to get a scholarship. And so I go to Bishop Kelly. We moved down from Orfino. I ended up, my friends are at Eagle Middle School. Right, I'm thinking I'm going to go to Eagle. I end up going to Bishop Kelly. I have to leave my friends. I have to get out of my comfort zone. You know, and I have to be around people with higher academia than me, because I'm not a good test taker. I am now. I could, you know, reading, I struggled coming down here from Northern Idaho education into this education. There was a window of struggle. And so it took lots of long hours, not just training, but then schoolwork, things like that to catch up, then being able to catch up, and then going from, you know, public school to a private school, and then going in basically as a freshman, starting on varsity as like the only freshman to ever do that at Bishop Kelly, start all the games. So there was challenges in that. And then my sophomore year, you know, get my first scholarship offer, and I'm like, man, things are going good. Got to keep working. Built all the way up. You know, I have stars. I have offers. I have things like that. And then Christmas Eve, I was driving with my folks, and I wrecked the pickup. I hit it black ice, kept it from going in the river on Highway 12, put it into a rock, got in a car wreck. I was like, shoot. Everyone was safe. The truck was a little dinged up, but it's fine. Got that fixed. Went up to Wallace, went skiing at Lookout, and we rented some skis. I was skiing. Everything was fine. And then I cut a 1/2 inch in my femur, almost lost my leg. And so then there goes, taking a recruiting trip on crutches with big drain pumps and things like that. It's not advantageous, right? So then having to come back and fight through that and work through that.
How old were you when that happened?
I was 17.
Holy smokes.
And then
just getting ready
to. So then, I have scholarship offers from, pretty much all the Big Sky schools, Boise State. They wanted me to come play they wanted me to do the gray shirt thing. Had a few other schools still interested, but I just, out of the blue, I get recruited by Eastern Washington. They call me, say, hey, come up here. I come up there, and I get with these two twins, and these are good dudes. And I don't do drugs. I didn't really drink beer. It was very straight edge. And they're like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, you tell me what to do. And so then went and drove around, it was spring when I took that trip, went and looked at turkeys. Thought that was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. They showed me, places that they had access to go hunt and stuff like that, and waterfowl stuff. And the defensive coordinator's son was in high school at the time, and he was like I knew him from competitive goose calling and things like that. And so we had places to go, and I was kind of fired up. I was close to my grandparents in Wallace, and then we came back and we turned on the movie 8 Seconds and cooked some steaks and watched 8 Seconds. Cried at the end. It was awesome, all of us.
Yeah.
The whole thing. And so I was like, this is where I want to be. And so I committed, and then instantly got sick because I was like, what did I just do? And then talking on the phone to a bunch of coaches. I had the Army got on a jet and flew to my house the day I got back to try to convince me to go to West Point. And I stood on my business and was able to go and play football. I started as a true freshman in the first game. And so I was able to play a lot. And then I was getting up off a pile my freshman year in college, and I was literally getting up, and I got kind of cheap-shotted in the back, and I broke all the ribs on my left side. Ooh. And, I was peeing blood, the whole thing. And I ended up getting really sick and running 105 fever for like 4 days. I was in the ICU. Ooh. They thought I had leukemia. They thought I had all sorts of stuff. They put me on this trial antibiotic. I got really, really sick. They kept me on it for another day. I was only supposed to be on it for 24 hours. I was on it for 48. And then my appendix ruptured. They pulled it out. And then basically that fever and the antibiotics, one of the side effects was organ tissue death, and it killed my pancreas. And so then from that day, I was a type 1 diabetic. They didn't tell me that. They sent me home. So then I remember I was getting back into training from the surgery I had, and I was doing battling ropes. And I just was out. And then they're like, I kind of wake up, and they're like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. So then I go and, I put on the 225, and, I could bench it 30 sometimes. And it cuts me in half. Like, absolutely cuts me in half. Okay. And I'm like, what the heck is happening? And then I'm losing weight. I go from 235 to 215, 215 to 200. Now I'm 198. And I look like I'm super sick. And they don't know what's wrong with me. So I go in, and then they're like, well, you're just depressed. Here's some, antidepressants and stuff like that and whatever. But they did some blood work. Well, that blood work, I would go in to work out the next day, and they're like, you need to go see the trainer. So I go see the trainer, and he's just frantically packing his stuff. He's like, we got to go to the ER. I was like, why? He's like, you're diabetic. I was like, no, I'm not. My grandpa's diabetic. I don't know what diabetes, you know what I mean? Like, right. No, and so then having to go, and I was horrified of needles. And so having to go through, get the insulin. My blood sugar was 980 when they took me in. I was in
Holy
DKA.
Smokes.
I was almost in a coma.
980.
I was so sick. And I remember having to give myself my first shots, and then dealing with, what are people going to think when I'm carrying a backpack full of Skittles and stuff like that because my blood sugar is going low, or I was having to I was scared to give myself shots because I didn't want people to think that I was a fat diabetic. Because when you think diabetes, you think, oh, my grandpa's got diabetes, and he just,
right.
And I was just like, and so then embracing that, and then that same kid that had hosted me on my recruiting trip, he was like, hey, you're a high performance race car. You're not going to put mud in your tank. You're going to fill it with what it needs. And boom, from then on, I was like, you're right. Get back into training, get back into this, start reaching out in the community and helping other kids with type 1 diabetes, volunteering, speaking, doing things like that, helping other kids not be scared and have it be okay and have it be welcomed.
Right. And
so now you think about it, and it's like, well, how do you go hunting with diabetes? Like, do you go low all the time, or do you have to worry about this? Like, yeah, I do. I have to. I don't go low all the time, but there's times where I need to sit down and I have a system. I have everything, every kind of technological thing that's going to help me, and I push it and I go hard, and I still can enjoy my elk hunting. But you're speaking about packs, and you're like, I got this 7,500 cubic feet. I don't need that because I can't go more than 3 days. I got to go back and get insulin. Yeah. Unless it's cool and I keep it dark, then I can go. But like realistically, the cost of sacrificing insulin supplies, things like that, I just kind of keep that as a boundary so I can go. I hike all day long. I hike whatever, right? It's not a problem. But it's just the duration. I try to make sure I keep myself. I don't put myself in harm's way of being out somewhere. I mean, I have all the stuff in case something does happen, I get sick or whatever. But and thank God for my wife. Like she knows me. My dad knows me. Everyone that hunts with me knows me, and so they help me, and I'm very thankful and blessed to have a support system that's able to help me. And so I mean, I really don't notice it, but I mean, there is times that it's hard to do things that it's like certain dehydrated food, I can't eat that. Right. It'll mess me up. Yeah. And so then having to keep things, and so still doesn't inhibit me. Still go and do things and have all the things. It just takes a little bit of extra preparation. That's fine. And that's just like any obstacle that you run into. I have struggled with depression. I have struggled with anxiety. I've struggled with drinking. I've struggled like when I lost football, that was really hard. And I drank way too much. And having diabetes, that's a double-edged, right. Yeah. That's hitting me twice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And so I lost football because throughout my entire collegiate career, I mean, I haven't had a meniscus in my left leg since I was 17. They took the other one out when I was 18. I literally had surgery the day after we played University of Washington. They came, they took my meniscus out. I was kind of on crutches for one day. I did a bunch of physical therapy the next day. I did the walkthrough. I drained my leg, and I played against University of Montana. 6 days after surgery. Okay. And so, like, that was kind of my MO in college was I would die for anybody. Like nope, no matter. Shoulders would dislocate. I mean, I had to have 4 shoulder reconstructions. I've had to have 2 hip reconstructions. I mean, I've had both my elbows done.
Through the ringer.
I've had more surgeries than you know what to do with. And, having that conversation with the team doc and, the NFL doctor and my doctor, I mean, basically when I did the physical to play in the NFL, they're like, no. Like, right. Do you want to have kids one day? It's like, yeah. Well, you want to lift them above your head? And the doctor, and then my team doctor, who's another man of faith and amazing man, he's like, you like to hunt, don't you? Like, yeah. You won't ever shoot a bow again. Whoa. And so then you kind of start putting your cards into perspective. And if there's anybody out there that's kind of had that injury, it's like, hey, that probably was one of the best things for you. Mm-hmm. And I trusted and I dove into that, but I got so down. And then I met my wife, and I finally found purpose. I found my kids. You know, my kids my 2 oldest are my stepkids. I don't call them that.
Right.
They're my kids. I love them dearly. We have our little one, our third. We have 3 girls. They're beautiful, and I love them more than anything. I'm their dad. They know that, and we don't even use that word.
Yeah.
But having that, and having my wife bring her love and her support into my life, man, like that. And you know, and there's times where I kick myself in the ass because how can I be an asshole to my wife? Because sometimes I am. You know, I'm not perfect, and I have to apologize, and I have to make it right with Jesus, because there's a lot of things that, you know, happen that I get so worked up about this or that or this, and I start prioritizing things that don't matter.
Right.
You know, I start stressing about money, start stressing about, you know, how am I going to pay this bill? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Well, you just do it. You just find a way to put your friggin' boots on and go.
Yeah.
And if you spend time whining about it, crying about it, having a victim mentality, which I've had, and I won't have it again. I probably will. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
You know?
It's going to come back around.
But, you know, it's one of those deals where I have such an amazing support system. I have such an amazing family.
Yeah.
You know, I have the keys. I just need to do my part. It's like, you know, one of my favorite movies, Old Yeller. It's like, you want a dog so bad, well, you got to meet God halfway for it. Yeah. So he goes and starts cutting trees and doing stuff and just to get his little dogs. It's like, you got to meet the Lord halfway in whatever you do. He isn't so powerful. He's the Almighty. But if we don't do our part, we're just giving in to what Satan wants us to do. Mm. And so that's one thing that, you know, trying to stop drinking, trying to get my head on straight, things like that. You know, I have a beautiful life, and I get to do what I love to do, so God is so good. Mm. And just overcoming all that makes me a stronger person. You know, I have scars, you know, figuratively and literally all over. And it's just one of those things that helps build who I am. It's what separates us from each other. And so being able to do what I do and have love in my heart and have faith, like I said earlier, I'm as rich as I can be.
Absolutely.
I love my family. I love my little girls. They are my world. Being able to take them hunting, hiking, fishing. You know, yesterday morning, my little 3-year-old wakes up and is like, "Can we go shoot a boy elk, Daddy?" I was like, "Yeah,
you're doing it right."
Yeah, we can.
I love it.
Yeah, we will, honey.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, that's a little bit. That's
one of my favorite quotes when I always look back on things is like, God has given us gifts and talents. It's our job to use those to glorify Him, and you're doing that, Cody. So I think it's awesome.
Trying.
We all are. We all struggle with things. I appreciate you being vulnerable with us, because those are some things that all of us, and I guarantee you, the listeners out there, struggle with some of the things that you've talked about.
It's just one of those deals where I'm not afraid of it.
Right.
If that's one thing that I've learned is I don't need to be afraid. Anxiety is fear. Depression is fear, and you know, drinking is a way to hide from it. And I don't want to hide, so I do not want to hide from who I am, what I am. I have so many gifts and I have so many blessings in my life that I'd be doing a disservice if I was afraid of that. Afraid of actions that I did to myself. No, not going to find it. I'm keep going and keep grinding, keep doing what we need to do and having fun.
I love it. Well, let's. I had you bring in a diaphragm and a bugle tube today.
Yeah.
I want to get into some of those gifts, because hearing you blow an elk call is something pretty cool. It made me feel bad when we were sitting back there. All of us are listening to Cody, trying to take some advice from him. So I want to dive into, and I want to give the listeners some tips and tactics as we go into elk hunting. This is going to be released a couple weeks before the Idaho opener, and where a lot of states open. So let's start early. Give me some tips and tactics that you like to do calling early versus mid versus late season.
Okay.
Late September, like peak rut.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep. I get it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the calling and we're going to move that to point B. We're going to start right now. Like was it 2 weeks? This comes out 2 weeks before it opens?
Yeah, probably about there.
So tips and tricks. Be in the woods. Find equipment, test it, use it, get initials, get a good backpack, get a good pair of boots. Go out there, be comfortable with topography, be comfortable with being able to stay out there longer, and being comfortable in navigating the areas that you're going to be hunting. Go find a bull track, a single bull track, and follow it. Early season, in my opinion, is probably one of your best chances to kill a really big bull. Why? Because they're apart. Mm-hmm. But on the other side, like you also have areas and units where those big bulls are in other places and they're coming to
right.
Like say right, they're coming,
still moving over.
Yeah, so that's where you have, or like unit, for example, I've had that tag. It's like those big bulls are up on their feet middle of September and they're moving in. Mm-hmm. Right? There's other bulls that are doing their thing, but early on calling, bugling is a really good tactic because early season, those bulls are posturing each other, right? They're rubbing their velvet off. They're starting to posture. So bugling is kind of like, it's a territorial thing, right? Cow calling to me, I think bugling, you can get away with a lot more because sometimes bulls don't even sound like bulls, or a cow always sounds like a cow.
Right.
And I believe in the calf calling approach because it's that whole bar fight mentality that we've all heard thousands of times, right? Joel Turner's deal. It's like that's, or you think about like whitetail or moose or mule, how do they respond? It's like with a whitetail, it's like you'll have that lead doe keep that buck away, right? So the lead doe, the lead cow, they're their dictators, right? The bulls are following, and when you're bugling, that's a bull calling to a cow. The chuckling and stuff like that that's bull-to-bull communication. Mm-hmm. But then like your bull calling cow's bugle, your lip ball, that's like, hey, that's that aggressive scream that you hear. It's him trying to gather. It's him being aggressive. That's him like, I gotta get here. And the biggest thing with any time of year or anything is so many people that are like, you call way too much. No, you call too much at 100 yards. I don't call very much at 100 yards. I call when it goes, I move. I'm always moving and advancing that aggressive play. Now, there's sometimes where it's not going to work because of wind direction, and that's the time to say, let's fight it. Let's fight another day.
Right.
Right. When you have something in your way, when you have an obstacle or barrier, instead of forcing the issue, right? And sometimes you have to. Right? Sometimes you have to cross and risk it being blown. There's times and places, and you'll know the time when you got to roll the dice. It's either yes or no, 50-50. Either will or you won't. It's okay. Yeah. Be okay with failure. But knowing those situations in which you're in, and that's why I talked about knowing the land and the topography, because once you get out there, you know, okay, I have an elk here. What's this exit plan? Where is that cow going to go? Where is he going to push them to? How is he going to go? Where are they going to bed? You know, it's like that scouting thing. It's like you can go find elk now, but, you know, say you go find elk right now, they're probably going to move.
Right.
And so then you're kind of like, well, I found them here, but now they're there. Well, you found them again, so just hunt them where they are. And so with calling, it's all about that pursuit and more of you don't have to be a good caller to kill an elk. You have to be a good woodsman to kill an elk. That's the most important thing about killing anything with archery equipment. Whether it's mule deer, whether it's whitetail, you have to be a woodsman. And so being able to traverse all the topography in elk country, that's where they say get in shape, do this, do that, be out there, stay longer, all those things will help you. Now, specifics to calling early season, mid-season, and late season, right? And so early season, that's where those bulls are posturing each other, and bugling is a good way to bugle. You're trying to figure them out. You probably have a good chance of calling a bull in. Mm-hmm. Now, finding that single bull track, finding where his little bed is, getting in his kitchen, calling him in. You know, you have some people that are like, well, you know, I locate a bull, and then I pinpoint where he is, and I cut a bunch of ground on him, and then I just cow call, real soft cow calls. Sure, that might work. I bugle or calf call. Half the time, I'm bugling, get to a spot where I need to relocate him. I hit him with a high-pitched calf call, try to get him to go, try to get some kind of directional thing on him, push it within 100 yards of him. Right now I know what to, you know, I'm getting to where my arrow is knocked. I'm in a position, I'm looking, I'm scanning, and I'm putting myself in dark shadows. I'm putting myself in front of things back in. Yep. Because another thing I think people do, and when they make mistakes with elk hunting, is I think they draw way too early. Okay. I did it last year, and I was standing in a dark shadow in a burn and had an elk 17 yards away from me, and I was able to draw, aim on him, as long as it's smooth, right? I was able to draw, aim on him, let down, draw, aim, let down. I've done that a lot of times, and that's just smooth. And then a lot of the times I think they can feel that energy. So if you're really excited, you know, you're really nervous, they can feel that. It's like the times you see a cow where you're completely covered up and she's just like, she knows something's there, right? Yep. She can feel it. And so it's just like, take your deep breath, go through your shot process, put your mind where it needs to be versus where it's going to be. Let that anxiety go. Be in the moment. Focus on your next move, whether it's moving an inch or moving 50 yards. Take what you can take. Yeah. Move when you can move. And when you get there, focus on your process of how I'm going to range all these. I'm going to set my sight. I am going to be as quiet as I can, because if I give away this position right here, he'll stop short. But if I called 10 feet behind me, calling behind me, and move that 10 feet, he thinks I'm 10 feet over there. So now he'll, you know, we're playing that game of where he's going to stop and look. And then we start talking into other tactics of some people are like, I don't call. Well, yeah, if you're hunting in or western Montana, I don't blame you. Right. Because they're going to get to a part where they'll see you bugling from your truck. Yeah. Okay, game's over.
Defeats the purpose of that.
So that's where glassing thing. Calling is a tool. Right. Just like optics is a tool. Just like your arrows, your broadheads, your releases. It's all tools. You're just adding tools to your tool belt. The more stuff that you can have, whether it's staying out longer, keeping your nutrition right, your hydration right, keeping your feet, your back, your body right. And then adding the sides of calling, the shooting, the skills that you need. And those are all things that we can work on through the year. And so just having that bag of tools, when you take it in the woods, you have a much better chance of accomplishing it.
Absolutely. Cody, did you bring your diaphragm?
Yeah.
Okay. Will you throw your diaphragm in, or at least get it ready for me? And I want to back up a little bit to that calling scenario. So you just talked to me about early season. Mm-hmm. You located a bull. Okay. So you're using a location bugle in that scenario? Yeah. That you just gave, right?
Yeah. Like it really depends where you're at. So let's walk you through a scenario of.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I want, Cody. This is where I want the listener to be able to come back and listen to this scenario on repeat on their drive to elk camp, because this is what's going to help them in that scenario. I know a lot of people that listen to these things. Dennis is one of them. I do the same thing. Early on when I was trying to figure this stuff out, I would go back to podcasts and I'm like, okay, I need to hear these sequences. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, this is what this guy's talking about. Boom, boom, boom. So talk me through. And I want you to demo your call as you do it. So if you start with a location bugle and then you move to a high-pitched cow call and then so on and so forth, if that makes sense.
Okay. So we get to where we want to be. And another thing to do that's that's really helpful is locating bulls at night.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone go out, find bulls at night, pin them, use your Onyx. If you're fortunate enough with these new rangefinders and technologies, you can literally take my binoculars, range a spot, drop a pin. I know an elk is in this vicinity, right? Mm-hmm. So then we get out, say you're just on a side-by-side or whatever, or you hiked out a ridge, and now you're in hunting. We know there's an elk somewhere over here.
Yep.
We're just going to do something, a location bugle. So
you can point it out that way if you want.
Don't want to blow your eardrums out.
Yeah, we'll be good.
But so this is something that's just we're going to put it into perspective of, hey, I'm here. This is where I'm at. So it's just a high, clean bugle. Right?
No aggression to it.
It's just clean.
Here I am.
Right? It's clean. It's high. Why is it that way? Because they can't hear all the other things.
Right. They can hear the high frequency.
It's that high frequency, and that's what their ears will hit. Ding. And then, okay. So we located a bull. He's 450 yards on a ridge. He's down the ridge. We're going to make sure the thermals are in our favor. So we're going to make our play. And so whether it's up or downhill is a big thing. I personally don't like to call up at elk. If I get a bull to locate and he's above me, I will I'll find a ridge over and I'll jump up to where I need to be, and I'll try to get on above him or his same level, which is really hard. Mm-hmm. Because if you try to call a bull down to you or across a draw, he can see across that draw. And so getting on his face and coming down, if you're making sound, he's just going to get to a spot where he can identify you. He's going to look for elk. He's going to look for elk sounds. So that's where, when I start pursuing an elk at that distance, I am purposely kicking, rolling rocks, breaking branches, raking trees. I'm just walking as fast as I can. I'm not. There's no sneak in that. And so then, say we get down and we're on his level, everything's good, we have wind. We've already verified all that in this situation. So now, I haven't heard him bugle. I'm going to hit it with just a really high pitch calf call. Right? Short, sweet, high pitch. This is the difference. The calf. Cow. There's a difference in frequency, right? So I'm trying to stay on the calf side of it, right? The only time we're doing like cow calls and things like that, you're in a place trying to drum up some business, cow calls are an effective strategy. Cow calling is a very effective strategy when you have a lot of bulls around, right? Which is rare in Idaho, but bull to cow ratios, where you're at, that matters. If there's more bulls than there is cows, cow calling is effective. So, but just wanted to put that in there as a disclaimer.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
Not like people are like, well, he just bugled. I'm like, no. And so then I relocate him. Now I'm going to try to cut in as tight as I can. And say I get to 80 yards and I'm like, ooh, I don't know where he's at right now. That's where try to do it again. Calf call. If that doesn't work, that's where you can rake a tree. You could do if you listen to Joel Turner, he'll say, don't ever chuckle in the woods. I do, because that's what I hear. Mm-hmm. And so if I need to get to that spot, I'm 80 yards away, I might hit him with one of these. Right after I raked a tree. Right now he knows, oh, snap. Well, now if he bugles, I am hauling biscuits, and I'm getting into that window. Now, once I'm inside that 50, 80 yard window, depending on what I can get away with, and my arrow's nocked. If I'm hunting by myself, I'm directionally calling. I'm going to say, I want the bull to be up there. I'm going to call up there, and then I'm going to move. Each time that you call, right, before you call, you can rake trees, do things like that, whatever. But as soon as I'm done calling and I go to move, that's where the sneak stuff comes in. That's where I'm not breaking branches. That's where I'm trying to be as quiet to advance that position into shade or in front of something with cover, backdrop. Let that happen. And I'm ranging. I'm doing my thing. I'm keeping my eyes open. Okay, I'm within 40 yards. That bull has bugled. I know where he's at. I am trying to cut that last, it might be 10 feet, it might be 5 feet, it might be 25 yards. What can I get away with? So then I think, all right, I think this is about to happen. This is where the bull calling cows bugle. This is the funnest bugle. This is the cool one. This is the one that everyone hears. Everyone's like, I want a lip ball. That's so good, right?
I love a lip ball.
So I'll do something like this. I'll rake a tree. Instantly, I am moving. I just called up there. I'm getting into the wind, whichever way the wind's blowing. I'm positioning myself back in there. That bull's doing its thing. I am now ranging. I see him. I draw, take my deep breath, go through my process, and shoot him.
Yeah, I love it.
That is what I would do.
Okay.
If you have a caller, for example, that's where a two-man situation. Well, that's where the caller is going to be back there. That's where the raking trees. That's where, I try to stay away from doing a whole bunch of stuff as a caller. Cow calling, this, that, because how many times has it happened where you start cow calling or bugling and you're like throwing all these sounds out and it's all just kind of right there, and then the bugle's up on the ridge. Well, we stood there too long. Right. So that's where it's also important to where if you have a hunting partner, and that's where you have a really good hunting partner. We've hunted, you always hear it from the old boys. We've hunted together for 30 years. He knows when I move and we can move and do the things. Because there's times where we get in a situation to where we're advancing that bull. Well, there's times where that bull is going to stop and look, and maybe he is just hung up in a spot. That's where the caller stays, the shooter stays in position, and the caller moves his way back up the mountain, like he's doing this, like he just gathered your cows and is running up there.
You're painting a picture. You're trying to paint tell the picture, this bull a different
So I'm
story.
moving up a little bit, moving away from him. Now I'm like, okay, well, he's moving away. So then you can get your shot opportunities. A lot of the things that I see is people, caller, 100 yards, person, 50 yards, and they don't move. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, there he is. I hear him. He's 50 yards. He's 100 yards away. Get up there 50 yards closer. I'll stay here. Call, rake, do this stuff. Mm-hmm. They don't move. That elk move.
Right.
Elk move. And as a caller for somebody, you're not being sneaky. I called in a bull from my dad. I actually called in two of them. And I called this bull in from my dad. And I'm back there, and it was my dad's birthday, and I felt just like a kid at Chuck E. Cheese. I was like kicking rocks. And, like I was back there looking like an idiot. I was completely covered. Yeah. But I'm doing all this stuff, right? That bull comes in. Dad shoots it. The other bull comes in, hears that other bull run off, chases it, and ends up kicking the crap out of him dead on the ground. No kidding. But it's one of those deals where it's the elk sounds. Right? It's just loud. It's that breath sounds. It's the low and slow stuff. It's not just the standard. It's not that standard. It's like if you need to get in tight with a bull and you're in tight cover and you're doing this as a caller, doing things, you hear them do it. It's the moans. It's the...
And you're doing a lot of that with your voice.
That's all with your voice. Yeah. Very little diaphragm. But that stuff kills elk. And it's not you go through a class and it's like it's all about the high note and this and that. It's like high note works great. And if you can do it, do it. But if it's not working, try this. What's that elk doing?
Right.
What's his temperament? All those things go into the factor and the equation, and the thing is it takes being out there to do it. So go fail again.
Reps.
Reps.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's like, and if you get a coveted tag unit, draw on every elk possible. Why? Because you'll figure out what you can get away with.
Right.
I literally had that where we bugled in 38 bulls in 3 days, and
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was insane. You're dodging elk. And that's one thing that you see when you're calling in so many satellite bulls to get to one bull, right? Trying to learn position and calling, and all these bulls are bugling, so it's like, they don't really care. Well, if you're in tight enough, they will.
Yeah.
If you're in an area that has so many bulls, cow calling will work. If you're in a unit and the satellite bulls, they'll come to that for sure.
So let's talk about that mid-season tactic when bulls are cowed up and we've got a target bull that we're after. What are you trying to do in that scenario? How are you getting to that target bull?
So my biggest thing is I want to call the cows away from him. But when I get into that position, that's a tough one to be in, because one pass is all you're going to get before he scoops and goes. Now, if it's you have one target bull and you are too far away, you're in, that's tough.
Yeah.
Because he'll scoop cows and he'll push them.
Right.
If you start cow calling a bunch around those cows, that cow will take them away. Calf calling is a really good way. If you get inside, like if you locate the bull and you're moving and he's actively doing his thing, use that. You don't have to call. If he's bugling, move. Get as close as you can.
Yeah.
Relocate him with calf calls. You can still locate a bull the same way. Location bugle. You can still do that. That's not off the table, but I'm saying like that middle ground.
Yeah, this is the finish.
When we're trying to cut, when we're trying to get in there. But once you get in that position and, that calf calling, things like that, that's a really good way to relocate that bull. It's a really good way to get him kind of looking around, doing whatever. But depending on the time of day, use his voice to carry you and get you into position. But then once you're close enough and he bugles, that bull calling cows bugle, that chuckling, that nasty stuff, raking trees, and move and be close, because you're going to get one pass. You're going to get one pass because he's not going to hang around and wait for you to come or wait for those cows to come to you. Yeah. Right? It's get ready. Here he comes, because he'll get to a certain point and he'll scoop. And he'll scoop with the wind and he'll try to drive those cows out and he'll defend his turf. But you have to be in his turf. And so that's where
I love it.
That goes. Now,
I love it.
Late season, I've killed a lot of bulls on the very last day. And that's because bulls are moving. They're moving. They're trying to find other cows. If they have, a group of 10 and they're bred or whatever, like those bulls are moving, they're cruising. And so you can have really good bugling activity, and that's where late season, using those bugles, using those calf calls. If you know a bull is by himself because one, you've seen him, or you know that he's just traveling by himself because you saw a lone bull track, cow calling works great. Not crazy cow, but as long as you're moving after you call, that's the biggest thing with calling is people sit. And they'll sit at 100 yards, 80 yards. And they'll be like, this is awesome. I've been listening to elk bugle for 45 minutes. It's sweet. Heck yeah, it's sweet. But there's no killing being done.
Right.
And then the one last thing that I'll add to that is be a killer. right? You have a bull at 25, 10, 40 yards, and you draw your bow, and you have branches, things like that. Well, first off, don't put yourself behind things. Put them in front. But if you have something, move. Make that split-second move to make your shot. Don't rush anything. Don't rush your shot. Don't make a bad shot. Don't Texas heart shot an elk. Don't try to shoot an elk at 59 yards frontal. Don't do that. I love the frontal shot, by the way.
Yeah.
I just felt like Donald Trump just then. I love it, by the way. It's very great. It's good. The frontal shot. I made it great. No.
That's perfect.
It's just make it. If you have it, put yourself in the move. Take that step to your right. Draw your bow. Execute. Just do it.
You're being aggressive in that moment. You're finishing.
Make it happen.
You've made everything
because
else
by
happen.
the time, if you sit there and he's looking at you, things like that, like make that slow move. Lean around something.
Yeah.
Do whatever you can to get that pin where it needs to go to get that arrow home.
Yeah. I love it, man. These are some great tips. You're definitely going to motivate and help some people with some of those tactics. We always end the show with some rapid fire, Cody. Mm-hmm. So Dennis is going to get that ready, but I'm going to pay some bills real quick. I have a review to read. This is a 5-star review left by no username. It's HDHE, but I want to read it. It says, really like this podcast so far. Love their packs as well. I was sold on the first outing. So thank you for leaving that review. Continue to leave them. It really helps the show. Dennis, take us away.
Okay. So, Cody, what we do, we have a rapid fire. We have about 6 questions that we'll ask. It'll be something or something, and
Perfect.
you just pick one.
Okay.
Could be from all over the board, but we'll focus on elk hunting for the most part on this one. So, but the first one may touch us all. Coffee or energy drink?
Oh, man. Can be both. I love coffee. Summertime energy drink. Anytime hunting. Oh, not even hunting. I'd say let's go energy drink, or let's go like a supplement, like a clean energy drink with no carbohydrates for the diabetes.
Okay, perfect.
But I love coffee.
All right, camo or solids?
Solids.
Heavy arrow or fast arrow?
Both.
Somebody
shoot 80 pounds. Shoot. I would. My ideal speed for a broadhead is 282 feet per second, 282 to 292, and whatever you can shoot comfortably. And I think that there's too much BS about super heavy arrows. I think have 14% FOC. That's great. You don't need to shoot a 300 grain broadhead and all that. I think shoot sharp, cut on contact broadheads. Here's a plug. Hyde Evolution Outdoors. Shoot that. It's the best. But something that's sharp, that's accurate, and however that arrow flies, like you don't want to shoot a heavy arrow and only shoot 248 feet per second because that's going to limit you. So find that sweet spot. You don't need, find that 14% FOC. Find that arrow. Now, on the other side of the coin, you don't want to be shooting a 350 grain arrow at, 325. Yeah, the arrow's it's hit, flex, whatever. Yeah. Just build the arrow that's effective and have the point that's going to cut and make a hole so you get blood. With elk, you have to punch through that second line. You have to create that pneumothorax where it collapses in on itself, and that's how you get elk to die. I'm sorry, that's a roundabout, not rapid fire.
We're back to rapid fire.
Love it. Okay.
I'm changing gears. Brady or Mahomes?
How about Marino?
Oh, okay.
Best quarterback.
I'll leave you with that.
I'm going to go Tom Brady because he's a great leader.
DIY or guided?
DIY.
Netflix or YouTube?
YouTube. That way I can watch Initial Ascent hunts.
Perfect. I like that answer. It's a great way to end.
Cody, I appreciate you, man. Where can listeners find you?
Oh, you can find me on my social media. We have Slayer Calls Official, and then my personal Instagram is Cody McCarthy 47. Facebook's Cody McCarthy, but Slayer Calls or my personal Cody McCarthy 47.
Perfect.
Instagram.
And to end it with this, the combo you used today, what is it, and where do listeners buy it?
So you can find it at most retails, but you can buy it right off our website, slayercalls.com, using the original Archangel bugle tube with a North Fork diaphragm. All of our products are made in Idaho. We're American-made company, Idaho-made company, Idaho Strong Company, made by hunters for hunters.
Okay. Love it, man. Well, God bless, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Oh, that was awesome.
Until next time, keep your eyes on the summit. This is the Mountain Dude Podcast, signing off.